Thank you so much for joining us. Early voting has begun by mail and in person, and Election Day is fast approaching. That makes this a good time to talk about some aspects of this campaign and local politics with our guest, Steve Kerrigan. He's the chairman of the Massachusetts Democratic Party, a former aide to Senator Ted Kennedy, CEO of the Democratic National Convention, and he was the 2014 nominee for Lieutenant Governor. Welcome, Steve. Good to have you here.
Good to be back. Thanks, John.
So, seeing former Congressman Joe Kennedy III speaking at the memorial for Ethel Kennedy the other day, just kind of reminded me it's been 4 years since he ran against Ed Markey in the Senate primary, claiming it was time for generational change. A new poll out last week shows a large majority of Massachusetts voters think both Markey, who is 78, and Elizabeth Warren, who's 75, are too old to serve. Markey will be 80 if he seeks re-election in 2 years. Is it time for him to step aside?
No, I don't think so. And ultimately, that's a decision Ed Markey's going to make. But the people of Massachusetts support Ed Markey because Ed Markey has always, throughout his career, fought for Massachusetts values, not just Democratic values. But he's been singing the song of climate change and the issues related to our climate for 30-plus years. And now the rest of the world and this country are catching up to him. He's a leader on so many great issues, as is Senator Warren. And I think they're both doing an incredible job serving us.
So this is not a one-off message from this poll. Democratic voters said the same about President Biden, as you well know, and then we saw the switch. Is this a message you're just kind of brushing off about the age of some of these polls?
No, look, these folks, both Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, are incredible public servants who do a great job at representing us in the United States Senate. Ed Markey's been doing it for decades in the House and the Senate. They understand what the people of Massachusetts care about. They understand the issues that impact them. Yes, the voters are going to talk about new direction, which is why we, frankly, have a fantastic nominee in Vice President Harris, a whole new generation of leadership. But it's the ideas that matter, not the age on a calendar. And the ideas that Ed Markey has been fighting for and that Elizabeth Warren's been fighting for against big corporations and those who look to take advantage of voters, those ideas are evergreen, and those ideas are ideas that transcend age, and they are the ones who get success on those for the people who vote for them.
Speaking of ideas, I talked to Joe Kennedy a couple of times after he lost that primary to Markey, and he acknowledged there were a lot of reasons why he lost. But he expressed the feeling that in a Democratic primary, the electorate is too far left to ever support a more moderate Democrat like him. Is that true?
Well, look, I think in primaries in general, in any party, they're going to be more extreme in one direction or another. But you see folks like Joe Biden, who got the nomination for President of the United States in a very crowded field with the likes of Bernie Sanders and others on the extreme left. The voters in that primary saw his more centrist, moderate views, supported them, and he got that nomination.
Yeah, he beat Liz Warren here.
Indeed.
In Massachusetts.
And Governor Healy was not the furthest left in her primary
Good point.
For governor. And so I think there is a tendency in the primary for folks to be voting more toward the core issues of the party, of either party, which is either on the left or the right. But the voters are the same voters who vote in November, and voters want leaders who are going to solve problems for them, and that's what we have in our elected leaders.
I want to talk about some of the issues on the ballot this fall, and we have to take a break here, but just very briefly, because I'm getting the break sign here. If Donald Trump wins, what does that mean to Massachusetts? Crystallize that for us.
I think it means what it means to the rest of the country, which is we will have an erratic, narcissistic autocrat in waiting leading our country. It's going to mean less investment in green jobs. It's going to mean less investment in our climate. It's going to mean less investment in our future, in our education, in less protections for our civil rights and our human rights. I mean, it is cataclysmic should he get elected merely because he only focuses on himself. And any leader who only focuses on himself is bad for all citizens.
So I take it you're not voting for Trump?
Never, ever.
Okay, just didn't want to put words in your mouth.
I want to make sure I'm very clear on that. No.
All right. And Steve, we were talking about left-wing politics in the first segment here. The very left-wing leadership of the Mass Teachers Association appears poised, according to the polls, to win their third ballot question campaign in the past 8 years. They beat back a modest increase in the number of charter schools in 2016. They got the millionaires tax passed 2 years ago. And they're on the verge of making us one of a handful of states with no serious statewide high school graduation requirement. That has deeply divided your party. Are they exercising too much power?
The Mass Teachers Association?
Yeah.
I mean, they're an organization of, I think, more than 110,000 members and households. My sister happens to be a Mass Teachers member. My mother was for 41 plus years. They, like their brothers and sisters in organized labor, fight for their members and the issues that impact them at work and at home. And so I give them a lot of credit for the work that they do. Now, what I think this ballot question and a lot of them do is shed light on the big tent aspect of the Democratic Party. We are focused on how best to educate our kids. And wherever you fall on question 2, it's how best to find a way to give our kids the best opportunity for it. John Adams put the right to a public education, a guarantee in our Constitution in 1780, and people across Massachusetts, particularly the Democrats across Massachusetts, are trying to find the best way to do that. So I don't fault anybody on either side, particularly organized labor, for fighting for their members and for the issues that they care about the most. And if they're successful, then they're successful.
Well, the big tent doesn't provide much shelter if the 600-pound gorilla runs off with the tent. And, to their credit, I mean, whatever else you might say about the MTA leadership, they are very skilled political organizers. But, what's next? The right to strike? I mean, who's going to get in their way?
Well, let's be very clear. Organized labor for more than a century have been the target of the vast majority of attacks against right to organize, safe working conditions, safe, better pay, benefits at the workplace. These folks and their brothers and sisters in organized labor, we're seeing it in Local 26 for the hotels across the Boston area. They're fighting for their rights as Americans and as workers.
That's a private sector union. Do you think public employees should have the right to strike here?
I believe in the right to organize. I believe in unions' rights. I believe that teachers who are tasked with some of the hardest jobs in the world and with shaping our future leaders should be given all the protections that they deserve for the tasks that have been put on hand.
Including the right to strike.
Look, they are right now in classrooms worrying about when to do the next live shooter drill. That didn't happen when we were kids, and that's not their fault.
That's not part of Ed Reform.
But they do that Ed Reform is also 30 plus years old. So this is them fighting for the rights for their membership, and I'll stand with them on that every day of the week.
Well, the business community and also elected officials like Maura Healey, the governor, indicate that if we step back from this part of the Ed Reform, which has been so successful, we're jeopardizing the future of these students, and we risk restoring the unwanted image of Massachusetts as bad for business. What about that? Does that concern you?
Look, I'm always concerned about Massachusetts, and I'm always concerned about the kids in our schools in Massachusetts. We are that big tent party, but we're also not a policy body at the Mass Democratic Party. The Mass Democratic State Committee has not voted on any, to endorse any ballot questions, so as their chair, I get a vote, which I've already cast early. But other than that, I'm going to stay away from saying whether or not one ballot initiative is better than the other.
So you voted yes on 2? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm just telling you, I cast my ballot.
Steve, it's always good to have you here. The red carpet's always out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to cast your vote, whether early or in person early or on Election Day. And then watch it count. On Election night, we'll have full coverage of the national scene beginning at 7 on WBZ-TV Channel 4. The local results beginning at 8 on TV 38 with me, Lisa, David, and the whole crew. And, of course, streaming throughout the night and 24/7 on CBSBoston.com.